Hi class, Dr. Warren here, and we're in week 5 of EDU602. And in week 5, we are developing an assessment rubric to go along with our summative authentic assessment, our final assessment in our online class. Now, the rubric is the tool that tells your students exactly what it is you're expecting of them. What criteria do you want to see in them complete in that assignment in order to tell you that they've met those learning objectives in your online course? So the great thing about rubrics is they bring an element of transparency to the classroom. The instructor, with the rubric there, the instructor can't just go off willy-nilly and grade on anything. They have to grade to the rubric. And that's why we at Ashford really like our rubrics, because multiple instructors are teaching the same class. And so the rubrics help ensure that all instructors are teaching to the same criteria. People aren't coming in with their own ideas of what they want to see in that assignment. They have to grade to the rubric. And so that protects you guys as students. And it also, if you're smart, you'll take a look at that rubric before you submit your final assessment, before you submit your assignments in the Ashford classroom, so that you can make sure that you're meeting all the criteria that's expected of you. Okay, so that said, and I've got a little problem here with a short cord, so I'm kind of hanging on to my headset here. All right, so how do we design a rubric? Well, I want to give you an example of a class that was developed by a student, one of your colleagues, and it's about teaching diverse students. And his learning outcomes are that students will be able to develop lessons using strategies to support diverse students in the classroom, okay? And he's identified 3 specific strategies that they're going to demonstrate. And so in this lesson, actually, I want to jump over here to the assignment outline. Remember this? So you should be designing all your assignments using this assignment outline template. Remember? The introduction or overview of the assignment, how do they complete that assignment step by step, break it down for your students. Is there technology that needs a tutorial to help them? And now we get to this biggie, assignment criteria and expectations. So when you think about what it is you want to see your students turn into you, this is where you put that down. I want to see you turn in your assignment, and I want it to include this, 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 and this. These are the criteria I want to see. And here's the quality of the criteria I want to see. Okay, so this is the key to your rubric. You need to sit down and think. So your rubric is not, you know, student met assignment criteria well. Students' grammar and syntax were good. You know, I don't want to see that. I want to see you addressing the criteria in your own assignment that's going to tell you your students learned it, okay? So I'm going to go back to this classroom, and again, the diverse classroom. And so this, your colleague, we get a little mixed up between who's the teacher and who's the student here when you've got a course teaching teachers who are going to be teaching students, so it starts to get a little mixed up. So I'm going to call the person who designed this the instructional designer, or your colleague. And so the instructional designer here wanted teachers to be able to design a lesson that included the 3 strategies for increasing success in diverse students: developing an empathy, building community through peer mentoring, using authentic learning tools, okay? And then they went in and thank you. They described what they meant by that, and that certainly, doesn't that help those students to know better what it is this teacher is expecting of them, okay? So now we're taking this and developing out our rubric. So in the rubric now you're going to see the exact same criteria: developing empathy, peer mentoring, authentic assessment, okay? And in the rubric you're going to see the levels of skill sets: distinguished, proficient, basic, you guys are familiar with these, and non-performance. Now non-performance is the easiest one of all. And you're welcome to use this language. The criteria was not addressed in the assignment. So you just copy that, paste it in every section of the non-performance, okay? Now let's talk about the distinguished. So again, the instructional designer here made a concerted effort to think about, what do I want to see my students give me that tells me they learned it? So he went in and he kind of gave them a little idea of what that is going to look like. Get to know the students. What's their background, their culture? What are their learning needs, right? So, okay, so now we see that here in the rubric. The teacher made a concerted effort to get to know and embrace the student's culture. Now, concerted, here we are in distinguished, right? So they made a concerted effort to embrace the student's culture. They utilized this knowledge to personalize the lesson, okay? All right, so that's kind of, that's the distinguished side. Then, so I always start with deciding the distinguished, and then I just copy and paste that guy right there into the proficient. And then I'll kind of hone the proficient down a little bit. I'll take out those special adjectives that make it distinguished. Instead of concerted effort, we're kind of, actually we've got a little typo here, but the teacher made an effort, the teacher asked questions in order to learn about the culture. They used this knowledge to personalize the lesson, okay? And then basic, and now at Ashford, we like to use the word somewhat. The teacher somewhat inquired about the students' culture. They may not have incorporated the knowledge to personalize the lesson. So now we get down to the basic level, okay? Let's do one more. Building community through peer mentoring. The teacher excelled, there's that distinguished, in fostering a one-on-one relationship. The teacher carefully guided each student. The mentorship experience helped foster good relationship, okay? Notice that we're taking those adjectives out. The teacher fostered a one-on-one, guided the students, fostered a relationship, not a good relationship, but it was a relationship, right? And then we get down to the basic level. The teacher somewhat fostered a relationship, somewhat guided a student, okay? So that's kind of what we're looking for here in your rubrics. And then what we want you to do is just put it right here into how the student will be graded. You'll be graded according to the following rubric criteria. Click to download it, okay? You're welcome to use this language, okay? So again, the key here to your rubric is your assignment criteria and expectations that connect to those learning outcomes, because this is your summative assessment and we want to see those learning outcomes showing up here in the expectations of your summative assignment. Okay, hope that's helpful, you guys, and we'll be seeing you online. Thank you.